Ja, und damit willkommen zurück zu Lamplight City. Entschuldigung, wenn ich ein bisschen heiser oder so klinge. Ja, keine Ahnung, es geht mir im Moment nicht so richtig gut und ich bin heute Morgen um 3 Uhr aufgestanden und irgendwie es ist gerade alles nicht so ganz, wie es sein sollte. Ich versuche jetzt hier mit ein bisschen, ja, das Gefühl aufzubauen, dass ich nicht allein bin, dass ich mit jemandem interagiere und das mal schauen, wie gut das funktioniert.
Probably best to leave her to her grieving right now.
Haben wir schon mit ihr gesprochen? Anscheinend.
Surely this one was called Lady Felicity Euphemia Beaver Snatch the Simple. They look expensive, but I bet they're totally worthless. I feel sorry for the sucker who has to clean them.
Stimmt, wir waren bei ihr. Wo waren wir denn noch nicht? Verdammt, ich weiß überhaupt nichts mehr. Das ist doch jetzt noch nicht so lange her. House of Parliament. War ich da schon? Da war ich schon, oder? Da war der Tatort.
No time to waste with further conversation right now. You've got a killer to find.
Okay. Aber wie finde ich den Killer? Was mache ich hier?
Fordham, how goes the investigation?
I'm making some headway.
Is that right? I certainly hope so for your sake.
Chief Jacobs. Now there was a leader. The rumor was always that the chief kept a bottle of something in a secret compartment in this cabinet. In Snelling's case, it's probably just water.
Also das ist jetzt der Chef und wenn ich dem berichte, dann ist der
Every
Fall
book and file in there
hinüber.
is organized to perfection. I'll bet Snelling gets flustered if anything is even a millimeter out of place. You should bump into the side when he's not looking.
Guter Plan, aber ich will mich ja nicht noch unbeliebter machen, als ich hier schon bin.
Chief Snelling?
Yes, Fordham?
Jetzt nichts Falsches sagen.
So I see the department is still running like a well-oiled machine.
It is, in fact. But I'm sure Upton has kept you well informed of our activities. Count yourself fortunate that your interference in our investigations didn't do any lasting damage.
Listen, about Leger's death.
I don't want to hear it, Fordham. What happened, happened. Nothing you can say is going to change my opinion on the matter.
And if I manage to find the man responsible?
The man responsible is standing before me. Even if you manage to find the culprit you let escape, it isn't going to bring Leger back from the dead.
But it will bring closure to the matter.
If that thought is what allows you to sleep at night, then so be it.
What makes him think you sleep at night?
Enjoying your new position, Snelling?
Reaping the rewards for years of hard work and dedicated service. A gratifying feeling you'll never be able to experience.
Oh, I get my gratification in other ways.
I'm sure you do, and I'd honestly rather not know about them.
I need to get back to my investigation.
Yeah.
Ja,
What information?
Clearly not as much as you.
I see how this is gonna go.
Well, what do you have?
A list of 5 victims, some information on each of them, and no clear idea what connects them. Until your discovery of the lily at each scene, that was where we stood. While I doubt this discovery will do much to aid in tracking him down, I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt.
Do you know anything about Percival McDonough?
He's a member of Parliament. I believe his constituency is somewhere in central Kingsland. From the reports I've gotten, McDonough led a rather
gibt uns noch ein paar
unassuming life for a
Informationen.
politician. He is, however, the first victim who didn't live in Chumley. Either there's a link we've
Chumley.
missed, or the killer is changing his method. Then again, since you seem so confident in your abilities to resolve this matter, I assume you'll provide an explanation.
Count on it. What do you know about the Justice Killer's previous victims?
Only what's in their files. All working men from Chumley. That's the only link.
You didn't look further into their personal lives? Maybe they had some social connection.
As I said, the detectives found nothing. You seem to think you can do better, so
Yeah.
I'll leave it up to you.
You have to wonder how much more thorough the department's investigations would have been if the 4 men were all rich like McDonough.
I need to get back to my investigation.
Yes, time is not on your side, Fordham.
Bitte sag mir, er hat mir irgendwelche neuen Orte gegeben. Nein, hat er nicht. Natürlich nicht.
No time to... The former...
Tja. Da ist jetzt guter Rat teuer, ne? Wieso kann ich jetzt wieder mit ihr
Can we
reden?
talk some more, Mrs. McDonough?
I suppose so, yes.
Are you familiar with the art of cryptography, Mrs. McDonough?
What an odd question.
It's just I noticed several books on the subject in your husband's office.
Oh, well, yes. Percival was interested in cryptography and secret messages and the like. He would sometimes leave me coded notes when we first began courting many years ago.
What kind of notes?
Oh, now, Mr. Fordham, those were private. But Percival got a thrill out of knowing I was the only one who could read them. Sometimes he would write them using a special ink that would only appear when the paper was heated. I can't remember the last time he did that, though.
Those are all the questions I have for now, Mrs. McDonough.
All right, Mr. Fordham.
Nein.
If this actually works, I'll eat my hat.
Haha. Was auch immer. Dearest Mary, words cannot express the regret and sorrow I feel for how I acted last night. I swore to myself I would never harm you again after the last time, but I have failed us both. It is my deepest hope that you can forgive me and trust that I will never let this monster out again. Was? Percival?
Well, I'll be damned.
Can we talk some more, Mrs. McDonough?
I suppose so, yes.
Do you know anything about this letter?
I'm afraid I don't have my spectacles. What is it?
The coroner found it in your husband's pocket. He gave it to me because he thought it was blank. But after you told me about your husband's propensity for writing secret messages, I decided to try exposing the paper to heat. Allow me to read it to you. Dearest Mary, words cannot express the regret and sorrow I feel for how I acted last night. I swore to myself I would never harm you again after the last time, but I have failed us both. It is my deepest hope that you can forgive me and trust that I will never allow this monster out again.
I see. May I have that letter, Mr. Fordham?
I'm afraid I have to keep it for now. It's evidence.
I suppose that does make sense.
Mrs. McDonough, did Percival mistreat or abuse you?
He wasn't a bad man, Mr. Fordham. I wouldn't have married him if he was.
Sorry?
It's just the stress of his responsibilities would sometimes oppress him. I would try and offer comfort, soothe his nerves, but there were a few instances where he lost control of his passions.
Did he ever hit you?
He did.
How many times did this happen?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe 2 or 3. You don't exactly count these things.
What a bastard. Maybe it serves him right for getting shot.
Thank you for your candor, Mrs. McDonough.
Can we
Deswegen der
please talk about something else?
Justice Killer.
Those are all the questions I have for now, Mrs. McDonough.
All right, Mr. Fordham.
Wenn der Justice Killer versucht hat, ihr interessant Justice zu
Surely...
schaffen. Ironwork at the Four-Bum Ironworks Chumley. Reggie Wellingham, single gunshot to the head. Cabby for Coulson Cabs. Home of the mission. Nothing of interest. Construction work at the Gascoigne-Chumley Bridge. Lamplighter, working in the Central Lamp Depot, Worcester.
Probably. They look exp.
Aha! Manchmal bin ich einfach zu blöd für diese Welt. Okay.
Well, that doesn't look good. This place sure is big. I wonder if they actually make anything useful. Well, that.
Okay, also die Iron Mill ist anscheinend kaputt.
Excuse me, sir. Are you in charge here?
Unfortunately. Who are you? This area isn't open to the public.
I'm Miles Fordham, and I'm a private investigator looking into the murder of one of your workers.
A private investigator, eh? Then maybe you can help me out.
I'll do what I can, but I'll need to ask you some questions, Mr.
Mims. Sanford Mims. Go ahead, but make it snappy.
What can you tell me about Hannibal Kirkland? A former employee here?
Listen, I've got a lot on my mind right now.
I understand, but it's important to my investigation that you tell me what you know about him.
I'm sure it is, but as you can see, I've got a lot to deal with right now.
Well, he's no help. Maybe you can figure out a way to help him help us.
What happened to your iron mill?
What's it look like? The damn thing went and got blown up.
Was it in disrepair?
Of course not. All my machinery is sound. Checked and serviced regularly. This is the work of those goddamn Redites. I'm sure of it.
What makes you certain the explosion was the Redites doing?
Take a look, boy. The whole mill got taken out. Even if this had been a mechanical failure, which it wasn't, the explosion would have been contained to a single part of the machine. This couldn't have been anything other than sabotage.
Have you had problems with the Redites before?
They've sent anonymous letters, but this is the first time they've actually carried out one of their threats.
You're absolutely sure this was sabotage, then?
Yes. How many times have I got to tell you that? Listen, you said you were an investigator, right? So find out who did this to my machine. If you do, I'll help you out with whatever else you wanted to ask me about.
Looks like we haven't got much of a choice. He seems pretty upset about his machine.
I'll see what I can do. How long have you been the foreman here?
Sometimes I think it's been too long. Things were so much easier before we got these machines. They keep saying they're supposed to improve our lives, but they've been nothing but trouble. I've already had 5 of my best men get mangled by some of them. And then there's these damn fools blowing things up. My hair wasn't this gray 5 years ago, you know. I swear one of these days, I'm just going to pack it all up and retire. Let someone else deal with these damn things.
Dann soll halt.
I'll be going now.
Be careful on your way out.
Completely ruined. Whoever sabotaged this knew what they were doing. This place sure is big.
Warum ist hier eine Maus? Also eine Handmaus.
This place.
Ich erfahre da gleich noch mehr drüber.
Hey, that area is for workers only.
My apologies.
Ja, wie soll ich denn sonst helfen?
Yeah.
Are you sure you can't tell me anything about Hannibal Kirkland?
It's like I've told you. I've got to deal with this mess. I don't have time for your questions.
Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
The who?
He's a serial murderer who's killed 5 men over the past 4 months.
Is that right? Never heard of him.
He may have killed one of your men. Weren't the police here asking about it?
Oh, is that what that was all about? I know they came poking around here a while back, but I was busy dealing with other things.
It's nice to see the lines of communication here are wide open.
I'll be going.
Be careful.
No way we'll be able to go down there.
Wieso nicht?
Completely ruined.
Was habe ich übersehen?
Yeah.
I'll be going.
Be careful.
No way we'll be able to go down there.
Wieso nicht? Wieso? Ich verstehe das gerade nicht so ganz. Ich kann hier an der Mühle nichts machen, obwohl da die Hand ist. Ich kann hier nicht durchgehen. Obwohl er weiß, dass ich mit denen reden müsste, um rauszufinden, wer hier... Seltsam. Ich weiß nicht, ob das eine Anspielung ist, aber es ist cool.
Excuse me.
Hey, what are you doing here? This is a construction area.
I'm Miles Fordham, a private investigator. I'm looking into the murder of a man who used to work here.
Who? Bowditch?
That's right.
I got nothing to say about him, and neither do the rest of the boys.
I've only got a few questions. If you could just...
I've got nothing to say to you. You want to know more about Bowditch? Go talk to his little woman.
Where can I find her?
Ruined Coffee House. She's a serving girl. Now get out of here. If something falls on you, I'm not gonna take responsibility.
Wie nett.
Short and to the point. I can respect that, even if it's extremely unhelpful.
Safe for only 25 men at once. I used to draw the line at 2.
Was?
Safe. I wonder if it would be any fun to tie yourself to that thing and go for a few spins.
What? Bill? Geht's dir gut? Oh, ich bin müde.
Huh, they seem to be making pretty decent progress.
War das Ironie?
Huh.
Please.
I already told you I've got nothing to say. Go bother Bowditch's woman if it's so important. Now get out of here before you get hurt.
Ja, okay, ist ja gut. Ich gleich so ausrasten.
Not in much of a hurry to clean up.
Die sieht
Self.
anders aus.
Dr. W prevents. They should. Dr. Temp. These things.
Ja, haben wir schon mal gelesen.
Professor Z. I'm PD Press. Handsome, I suppose. All that.
You heard about the murderer? The Justice Killer? Pretty crazy, huh?
Bla bla bla. Das ist gut.
Asleep at a coffee house. One of like. If this is how they store their coffee beans, it's probably a better idea to ask for tea.
Wieso? Kaffeebohnen sind jetzt nicht so empfindlich.
Give me an old-fashioned tea kettle any day. The specialty house brews. These are definitely not coffee. Seems like they have a little something for everyone in here.
Ja, so, also, ist jetzt auch nichts Schlimmes.
Specialty.
So, reden wir mal mit
Begging your
ihr.
pardon, miss.
How can I help you, sir?
I understand you were involved with Ennis Bowditch.
Was involved, yes. I haven't spoken to him in nearly 2 months.
Oh, Were you not aware of his death then?
What? Ennis is dead?
Well, this is awkward.
Indeed. I'm sorry to have to be the bearer of bad news.
How did it happen?
I'm afraid he was murdered.
Murdered? By who? And why?
Those are exactly the questions I'm trying to answer myself.
Oh, I see. Are you a detective?
A private investigator, yes.
Well, I'll answer what I can. If it helps any, that is.
I'm certain it will. What was your relationship with Mr. Bowditch like?
Oh, well, it was nice at first. He was a proper gentleman-like. But then something changed.
Oh?
It's like I told Ruby. I think he might have got hit on the head at work, because he seemed to be a completely different person. He'd get angry for no reason. He even... Well, that bit's not important.
Sie hat ihn auch
At
geschlagen.
first, I thought he was just going through some rough
Das
times,
ist
but
vielleicht die
after a
Verbindung.
while I realized he'd
Ist der
changed for the worse.
Justice Killer
So
vielleicht eine Frau?
I broke things off.
Der Justice Killer ist eine Frau. Ich sag's euch.
I wasn't going to stick with a man like that.
This friend of yours, Ruby, did she know an MP named Percival McDonough?
I'm not sure. Ruby knows a lot of men.
Is that so?
Well, no, I don't mean... It's just... Oh, damn it all, me and my big mouth. She'll have my guts for garters now.
It's all right. No one's in trouble. But I think I'd like to speak with Ruby. Could you tell me where I can find her?
No. You see, she moves around quite a lot. Never in the same place for more than a night or two.
Right. I think she's given us a clear picture of what Ruby does for a living. Normally, I'd be all for pressing this girl more until she cracks, but I like her. I think we'll be able to find Ruby without causing her more discomfort.
Well, thank you for the information. You've been very helpful. Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
Justice Killer? Is that some kind of pesticide?
No, it isn't. No.
Pesticide.
You've been working here for quite a while, haven't you?
I have, yes. Coming up on 3 years. Been a real pleasure getting to know all the regulars. They've come to be sort of like a second family. By the way, whatever happened with you and your lady friend?
I beg your pardon?
Oh, that nice lady you met in here a couple of times. Did it work out between the two of you?
Oh, that? No, that was strictly business.
Right. Well, if you see her, tell her I said hello.
I'll let you get back to work.
Thank you, sir.
Dachte, dass ich und, wie heißt sie, Umbridge? Okay, interessant. Upton, Entschuldigung, nicht Umbridge.
There.
Okay, Upton ist nicht hier anscheinend. Schade, manchmal funktioniert's.
You there! What are you doing?
I'm Miles Fordham. I'm trying to find out about...
No time for that now. Get in here and shield your eyes.
I beg your pardon?
Just do it.
What's going on exactly?
Shh. Everything ready, Alex? 3, 2, 1, go!
Ja.
Amazing! It works! It works!
What works?
Etheric lamps! Our experiment was a success!
Jetzt
What exactly have we wandered into here, Miles?
kracht's gleich und fliegt in die Luft.
I wouldn't get too close to that thing. It might end up turning you inside out.
Ja, das glaube ich
I
auch.
wouldn't get too close. So this is where all the lamps in the city come from. I can't believe I never bothered
Ich
finding out
liebe
before.
es übrigens, dass das Spiel Lamplight City heißt, weil das einfach direkt die Atmosphäre total gut einfängt. Also es klingt dumm, aber das sind so Details. Ja,
Too bad you didn't get a chance to read that sign before their little experiment. Is the bunch of crap they used to build street lamps with.
May I ask you a few questions?
Of course! What would you like to know?
This is strange.
You worked with a man named Burley Cars, is that right?
Yes, I heard he was killed. Such a senseless tragedy. It's a shame he missed out on our demonstration. He was really interested in etheric technology.
Wasn't he concerned about losing his job to these technological advances?
He had no reason to. It's been made clear to all the workers that there will always be a place for us, even if our jobs are made obsolete.
Okay.
Unlike some other places, we take care of our own here at the Lamplight Depot.
How noble. But I'm pretty sure he's full of more hot air than the HMS Lenore.
Is there anything you know about Mr. Cause's personal life that might be relevant?
I know he was married, but I don't believe he had any children. Oh, and he used to talk about his love for fishing.
Fishing.
Could you give me his home address? Perhaps his wife will be willing to speak with me.
Yes, certainly. He lived at 820 Orchard Avenue, apartment 2A.
Thank you for the information.
Okay. Neue Adresse.
Do you know any details about Mr. Cause's murder?
Unfortunately, I don't. The police were here asking questions, but they didn't give me many details.
Do you know of anyone who might have wanted him dead?
Not at all. Burley was very friendly, always treated everyone around here with respect. You know, it's sad to think that for all our leaps forward, we're still really just a bunch of savages.
Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
I've read about it in the newspaper. A horrible business. It makes me wish we could install more street lamps to keep this city safer at night. Someday, I hope to realize that dream. Then we'll really deserve to be called Lamplight City.
You think brighter streets will stop serial murderers?
It's well known that crime rates are lower in Lyon and Worcester, and they have many more street lamps per square mile.
I'm sure it has absolutely nothing to do with the amount of wealth in those areas. Has to be all about the lighting.
You mentioned something about etheric lamps?
Yes! Weren't you paying attention to our demonstration? You have just witnessed history!
What I witnessed was a blinding flash of light.
Exactly! That flash was the result of years of painstaking research and experimentation. It means that not only does electricity exist, but it can be used as a source of illumination. If these experiments continue to be successful, as I suspect they will, we'll have etheric street lamps before the end of the decade. Imagine lamps that burn twice as bright, 4 times as long. Oh, this will change everything.
And
Hat
if it's like
gerade
anything else we've seen,
einfach nur
it'll put a lot of
elektrisches
people out of work too.
Licht entdeckt.
With all these promises of technological advancement, have the Redites given you any trouble?
Oh, those tech-fearing dolts. Yes, I'm sorry to say that we've gotten threats from them. They have yet to carry any out, which is unsurprising.
How so?
Groups like that are all bluster and no backbone.
I've seen some evidence to the contrary.
Is that right? Well, we've seen little beyond threatening letters, and I intend to make sure it stays that way.
Do you have any of these letters I might have a look at?
Yes, I have one. I'll give it to you before you leave.
Danke sehr.
What is it you do here exactly?
Oh, several things. This is the main hub of the city's Department of Illumination. It's really just a grandiose way of saying that this is where all affairs related to street lamps and public lighting are taken care of. But in addition to sending out lamplighters or mechanics to repair damaged lamps, we also do research into new methods of illumination. That's what my personal specialization is. I help develop and
Er ist
test
der
more
verrückte
efficient ways
Wissenschaftler.
of lighting our streets. I guess you could consider me a modern day yes.
Very pretentious.
Thank you. Your cooperation is much appreciated.
Dieser
Here to
Typ.
help. Here's that letter you were asking about.
Okay. Fassade. To the engineers of chaos and destruction. Ach nein, das ist ja gar nicht von ihm. You are working in direct opposition of the natural order of things. These so-called improvements will be the downfall of our society. If you do not cease your unholy experiments, the Redites will be forced to take action. You have been warned. PF. PF?
Now that's interesting. Whoever wrote this letter signed it with initials. They can't have been so stupid as to make themselves so easily identifiable, can they?
PF.
Leave him to his work.
Wer ist PF?
So this is... I wouldn't get too close to... Too bad you didn't... There's the bunch of...
Wundervoller Ort.
I thought the housekeeping in my apartment was bad. The number is a bit faded. Is this 2B or is it not 2B? That's the question. Apartment 2A. This is the place.
Entschuldigung.
Yeah? May I help you, young man?
Hello, madam. My name is Miles Fordham, and I'm a private investigator. I have some questions about your neighbor.
You mean my former neighbor?
Yes. In any case, I'd appreciate it if you could help me with some information.
Nah, I don't think so. The last person to ask me about him was that awful policeman. I don't want to have to go through that again.
I'm sorry you had a bad experience, but I can assure you I won't give you a hard time.
Well, that's easy for you to say, but actions speak louder than words.
Uh-oh. I think I know where this is going.
Is there anything I can do for you then?
Well, since you asked,
Ich darf den Müll
my
rausbringen.
husband is out wasting our retirement fund with his drinking. Go find him and bring him back here. Then maybe we can talk.
Oh, wonderful. Now we're playing babysitter.
You'll find him at the Silent Raven. It's not too far from here.
Mal wieder der
Yes,
Silent
I know
Raven.
it.
Good. My husband's name is Kurt Williamson. You tell him his wife Ethel wants him home at once.
I'll do my best, Mrs. Williamson.
There doesn't seem to be anyone at home.
Wie?
There doesn't seem to be anyone at home. Apartment 2.
Yeah, toll. Jetzt mache ich mir die ganze Mühe hier, ist gar niemand zu Hause. Jetzt habe ich wieder zum Silent Raven und irgendwen... Das ufert ein bisschen aus, muss ich sagen.
Looks like they haven't bothered cleaning this up yet. It's an ad for whiskey. Or... I suppose your mascot... He's advertised...
Hehe.
Excuse me, barmaid?
Hi, what do you need?
Das ist sie wieder.
Do you know anything about the man sitting at that table over there?
Not really. He comes in here a few times a week, but he mostly keeps to himself. I see his type all the time, though. Older, probably retired and looking to escape his home life. I feel sorry for him, but that sort of customer is my bread and butter.
Are you familiar with the Justice Killer?
What is that, some fancy drink concoction?
No. It's the name that's been given to a serial murderer here in the Chum.
I see. Never heard of him. And if he's smart, he won't show his face around here.
You know, this place suddenly feels just a little bit safer.
Wieso?
How are things here now that the election hubbub has subsided?
Oh, right. I thought you looked familiar. You were the one in here asking about the fellow who was killed.
That's right.
Well, there hasn't been too much excitement since then. I've hardly had to toss anyone out, which is a right shame.
Why's that?
Kicking out a rowdy customer shakes things up a bit on a quiet night like this. Gets the blood flowing, you know?
What would a customer have to do to warrant being thrown out?
My general rule is if they're being a nuisance, they're out. If they try to pick a fight or are just being generally disrespectful, it's a one-way ticket to the pavement outside.
Good to know. What was it you said a person had to do to get thrown out?
Pick a fight or just be bothersome enough that other customers complain about them.
Right. Thanks. I appreciate
Ah.
Yeah.
Ich muss erreichen, dass
Been
er
pretty
raus...
quiet in the streets of late, hasn't it, Bertie? You noticed too? I thought it was just me.
I'm not complaining, mind you. It's nice to be able to go out and about without stepping over half the chum in the process.
Irgendwie,
Indeed.
ihr
What
Akzent.
do you reckon's the reason for it?
Not a clue. Can't be illness. We'd have heard something by now. Whatever it is, let's just hope it keeps up.
Diese Ladies sind...
Never thought I'd see that bridge finished in my lifetime.
I know. Who'd have thought?
They're saying it might even be done by the end of this decade.
Bet you're looking forward to spending more time in Gascoigne. Eh, Rose?
God no. I wouldn't be caught dead there. Nothing but a bunch of thieves and drunk sailors. I'm just looking forward to not getting seasick anytime I need to cross the river.
Interessante Konversation haben diese Ladies.
And anyway, there wasn't...
Bla bla bla, okay.
Doesn't look like cleaning up is high on the list of priorities around here.
Last time I went over there, they banged me on the head.
They don't seem to have much variety in their beer selection. Looks like that's where they keep the good stuff. Of course, around here, good is an extremely relative term.
Excuse me, are you Kurt Williamson?
That's right. Who are you?
Miles Fordham. I'm a private investigator.
Oh, yeah? What is it you want from me?
Ethel sent me to tell you she wants you to come home right away.
I should have known. I can't get away for more than a few hours before she's put the entire city on high alert. How much of my retirement fund did she waste on getting you to come down here?
I'm only doing this because I need some information.
The joke's on you, then. You can just go back and tell her I'll come home when I'm damn well ready.
Why is it you're so averse to returning home?
I enjoy going out and having a good time. Is that so wrong?
Yeah.
Your wife told me she doesn't like you spending your money on drink.
What I spend my money on is none of her business, and even less of yours. What's this world coming to when a man can't even drink in peace without all his affairs shouted from the rooftops?
You know, this whole situation seems awfully familiar.
Listen, Mr. Williamson, I think I know what you're going through.
Oh, yeah?
My wife and I were having a rough patch. I wasn't being honest with her, and it nearly drove us apart.
But you managed to fix things.
Yes, I was fortunate. I did the right thing before it was too late.
And what did you do?
Also entweder ich erzähle ihm jetzt was ihn komplett... Also entweder ich sage ihm die Wahrheit, oder ich sage ihm die halbe Wahrheit, die trotzdem noch die Wahrheit ist, oder ich lüge.
I told her the truth, that I hear the voice of my dead partner.
Fordham!
Come again?
My dead partner speaks to me, and it was driving me crazy. But telling my wife the truth fixed everything.
Right. You have a nice evening, Mr. Fordham. I'm just going to enjoy my drink alone, if you don't mind.
What about going home?
Don't you worry about that. I think you should be more concerned about getting home yourself.
Have you learned nothing, Miles? You're just asking for trouble.
Ich will ja Trouble.
Figure out some other way to get Williamson back home. There's got to be some way to get him back home. We just need to figure out the right thing to say. There's got to be...
Excuse me.
What
was it you said a person had to do to get thrown out?
Pick a fight or just be bothersome enough that other customers complain about him.
Right. Thanks. I appreciate...
Yeah.
There's got to be some way to get him back home. We just need to figure out the right thing to say.
I don't like it when the streets are this quiet. Then there's all the traffic.
Ja, okay, dass ich da hätte lügen sollen, war vielleicht ein bisschen offensichtlich. Also, Hallo.
It was gonna happen anyway.
There's gotta be.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
They don't seem to have. Looks like.
You know, it's like you said, bunch of things.
Doesn't look.
You know, it's like it's ridiculous these days.
He's advertised. Looks like they. It's an ad for whiskey. Or. I suppose you could do. Their mascot seems to be.
Habe ich es jetzt wieder endgültig vermasselt?
Looks. What a mess. What a mess.
Wenn Bill sagt, es gibt noch einen anderen Weg, dann gibt es noch einen anderen Weg.
Whether he was coming with us or not, and that's just the way.
There's gotta be some way to get him.
Ne, da wollte ich gar nicht hin. Verdammt.
There doesn't.
You were.
Not really. I tried persuading him, but he wasn't very receptive.
Yeah. Well, at this rate, he'll barge in here after midnight completely out of his gourd, singing that ridiculous song.
Song?
Yeah, some dreadful song he always loves belting out when he's had a few too many. Something about being down among the dead men.
Down Among the Dead Men? Why, that was one of my favorite drinking songs. Seems oddly appropriate now.
I wouldn't mind it so much if he could actually carry a tune, but it winds up sounding like a dying cat.
Wow, die haben sich ja richtig
I'll
gern.
go and see if I have better luck with him.
And I thought that.
Mr. Williamson?
Huh?
Let's hope this works.
Ahem. Here's a health to the Queen and a lasting peace.
Oh Gott.
May faction end and wealth increase.
Come, let us drink while we have breath, for there's no drinking after death. And he who would that health deny, down among the dead men, down among the dead men,
Gar
down
nicht so
among the
schlecht.
dead men, let him lie. Come, let us drink while we have breath, for there's no drinking after
Excuse
death.
Hi.
That man at the table's causing quite a racket. Don't you think he should be thrown out?
Maybe, but seeing as it was you who got him started, I've got half a mind to toss you out as well.
Ja, bitte
As
sehr.
long as he shuts up in a bit, I'll let him have his fun. He's in here often enough. He's earned it.
I appreciate.
Yeah.
And he who would that health deny, down among the dead men, down among the dead men, down among the dead men, let him lie. Come, let us drink while we have breath, for there's no drinking after death. And he who
Doesn't
would
look like
that
cleaning up.
health deny, down among the dead men, down among the dead men,
Looks like that's what.
down among the
They don't
dead
seem-
men, let him lie. Come, let us drink while we have breath, for there's no drinking after
Excuse me.
death.
What was it?
Pick a.
Right. I.
Yeah.
And he who would that health deny.
Well, if you can't
down
beat
among
'em.
the dead men, down among the dead men, down among the dead men, let him lie.
Ja, perfekt. Genau so behalte ich das.
All right, that's quite enough out of you.
Huh? What are you talking about?
Come on, both of yous. It's about time you went home, don't you think?
No, I'm fine. Just one more and I'll go.
I don't think so. Now come on, I'm not asking again.
Ich bring den Herrn zu seiner Haustür. Ich bin so nett.
Ah, so nice when I get to do that.
Schön, dass ich helfen konnte.
That barmaid has no sense of mirth. Well, guess it's time to be heading home. Have a good night, Mr. Fordham.
Perfekt. Ihn gehe ich später besuchen. Jetzt gehe ich erstmal dahin.
Remember, a black eye is not a badge of honor. Anyone picking a fight will be dismissed immediately. Well, that's hardly any fun, is it?
Was?
I thought about a career as a mechanic once. Glad I chose police work. Way less messy. A good old reliable hansom cab. Nothing fancy, just gets you from point A to point B. The way it should be.
Good evening.
Oh, it's you again. Small world.
Indeed. Mr. Shaw, was it?
That's right. So, what brings you around to the cab depot?
I wanted to ask you some questions if you can spare some time.
Shouldn't be a problem.
Warum? Warte mal, wo habe ich den schon mal gesehen?
Did you know Reggie Willingham?
Reggie? Sure, I knew him. Well, just as rather I didn't.
Oh? Why do you say that?
The man was a bore, a scoundrel, a no-good bounder.
I wish he would tell us how he really felt.
Only reason they kept him on here was because he was a good driver.
So it's fair to say you didn't like him?
Nobody did. When I heard he'd been killed, wasn't exactly a surprise.
Ja, toll.
If I treated people the way he did, I'd surely have a lot of enemies.
Ja, okay. Ich verstehe, warum sie ihn den Justice Killer nennen.
Could you elaborate a bit on Mr. Willingham's behavior?
Oh, he was a proud one. Thought he was God's gift to mankind. Always strutting around, bragging about how many gratuities he'd earned or how many fist fights he'd won against drivers from Phillips. He had the shortest fuse I've ever seen, too. Just looking at him the wrong way could set him off. I'd always laugh to myself when he'd brag about how many women he'd had in a week.
Why is that?
Because it was obvious he had to pay for the pleasure. A man like that isn't going to get a woman otherwise. I may not be a hit with the ladies, but even I know that being a bastard is a surefire way to drive them off.
Are you familiar with the so-called Justice Killer?
I've heard a few rumors here and there about some murders in the chum, but I haven't paid them much attention. There's plenty for me to worry about in my own life.
Aren't you concerned for your safety?
Not really. Well, I haven't done anything wrong. So if this loony's going around doing justice, nothing for me to worry about.
He makes a good point. I think we need to get a better idea of what exactly these victims did to incur the wrath
Naja,
of
sie
our
schlagen ihre Frauen vielleicht.
What can you tell me about Colson Cabs?
Not a bad place, really. Only problem is the number of people always coming here for work. Lots of folks think driving a cab is an easy job that anyone can do, but that's not the case. You need to know this city like the back of your hand. And it helps to know how to drive.
Ach so.
So we get lots of fellas starting here who don't have the slightest clue what they're doing. They don't last long.
What about the automated cabs? Are those a problem for you?
I prefer not to think about those. Colson has said he's got no plans to replace his fleet, so it's all that matters to me.
Are you still living in Pumblechook Place?
I am, sir. Not much has changed, to be honest. None of us have been kicked out yet, so that's good. Don't know what else to tell you, really.
Have you had any trouble from the Redites?
No, sir. They got no reason to give us any trouble, what with us still using horse-drawn cabs. I imagine the fellas over at Phillips have, but I can't be certain. We don't deal with those lot if we can help it.
I don't think interviewing anyone from Phillips would be a good use of our time. Our priority is finding the justice killer, after all.
I appreciate your time, sir.
Pleasure's all mine.
Best leave him to it. I thought a good...
Tja, nicht sehr ergiebig, wenn man das mal so sagen möchte. Oh, gehen wir doch mal hier klopfen. Ich habe irgendwelchen Scheiß geträumt.
Ah, Mr. Fordham, thank you so much for getting Kurt back home.
Don't mention it. Now, would you be willing to answer some questions?
Well, yes, of course.
Tell me what you know about Burley Cause.
He and his wife hadn't been living next door very long, maybe 4 months or so. But I didn't talk to either of them very much. They weren't interested in being neighborly, I guess. It's a shame, really. Maybe if we had known one another better, something like this could have been prevented.
What happened on the day Mr. Cause was killed?
I was here, at home, doing my knitting as usual. All of a sudden, I heard a loud bang. It sounded like a gunshot. I went and knocked on Mrs. Cause's door, but there was no answer. I did notice a smell, though, like flowers. Something seemed wrong. So I decided to
Ich bin
report the
100%
incident to
sicher,
the
dass der
police.
Flower Shop,
Not long after that, an officer showed up and started asking
also dass der
questions.
Justice Killer eine Frau
Oh,
ist und dass er was mit dem
so rude.
Flower
I
Shop zu tun
reported
hat.
him. I forgot his name. I think it started with a P.
Parsons?
Yes, that's him. He called for some more officers and they got into the apartment. That's when I found out Mr. Cause had been murdered.
Where is Mrs. Cause now?
I don't know, with her mother maybe. That's usually how it goes.
You wouldn't happen to know where that is, would you?
Afraid not, but there is one other
Ja,
thing.
ja,
Yes?
tell me.
Don't say I told you this, but, well, I used to hear the two of them through my wall. I tried ignoring it since it's really none of my business, but it became impossible.
What was it you heard?
I don't believe they had a happy marriage. They'd have awful fights a couple times a week.
What would they fight about?
Oh, all sorts of things. The worst one was when she discovered he was going to a brothel. I think he might have hit her on a few occasions, too, but I can't be certain. I hope you don't think me a horrible old gossip, but I thought you might like to know.
In der Tat.
Not at all. I'm glad you told me.
Also alle von denen haben bisher ihre Frauen geschlagen. Wenn das kein Muster ist, weiß ich auch
Are you
nicht.
familiar with the Justice Killer?
You mean the serial killer who's been killing men in Chumley?
That's the one.
Nah, never heard of him.
What?
I'm just pulling your leg, Mr. Fordham.
I like this one. She's got spirit.
Unfortunately, I only know what I've read in the Gazette, but it's scary to think some maniac is loose on the streets doing such terrible things. And with Kurt going out by himself for hours at a time? Oh, I don't like it one bit.
How long have you been living here?
Well, Kurt and I moved in shortly after we were married, so it's been about 34 years.
Goodness, that's a long time to be living in one place.
Yes, well, the building may be a bit run down, and it gets colder than cold in the winter, but the rent has always been cheap. You can't really ask for much more than that.
I appreciate your time, Mrs. Williamson.
Have a good day, Mr. Fordham.
Habe ich jetzt irgendwas Interessantes
number's a bit
mitgenommen? Okay, was haben wir? Geschlagen. PF. Wer könnte PF sein? Hatte ich schon mal jemanden mit den Initialien? Müsste ich mich daran erinnern?
Mr. Mims?
Yes, what is it?
I'll be going now.
Be careful.
Completely. No way we'll be able to go down there.
Wieso nicht? Das müssen wir erst... Das müssen wir erst
This place
reparieren.
sure is big.
It's like I've told.
Are you? I'll be going.
Wenn ich hier nichts tun kann...
Completely ruined.
Kann ich hier nichts tun? Ich weiß nicht, wie ich dem armen Herrn helfen soll.
She's busy. No point bothering her if we've got nothing to ask.
Richtig.
Too bad you didn't get a... Here's the budget. Leave him to his work for now. Leave him... I wouldn't get... So this is the budget.
Ruby.
No time to wait.
Okay, ich muss mal wieder mit der Witwe reden.
Hello. Probably best to...
Oder auch nicht.
Surely... Probably best...
Chief Snow.
Yes, Fordham?
Have you got any information on the Redites?
The Redites? That ridiculous gang of troublemakers? Yes, I have some information. What's your interest in them?
A witness is refusing to speak with me unless I can figure out who sabotaged his iron mill.
Oh.
I see. All I can offer is a list of names of known Redites along with their last known whereabouts. But I remind you that you only have until tomorrow afternoon before this indulgence expires, and I throw you in jail. This seems like a waste of time.
That's my decision to make.
Very well. I'll give you the list when you're ready to leave.
I need to get back to my investigation.
Yes. Time is not on your side, Fordham. Here you are. This is the most recent list of known Redites.
Oh Gott.
This is a lot of names. If we're going to track down this saboteur, it might be best to retire to a more tranquil environment. Fancy a trip back to Upton's?
Okay, gehen wir zurück zu Upton. Das kann ich machen.
Right. This should be a quiet enough spot to concentrate on finding that saboteur. I just hope Upton doesn't mind you turning her parlor into your own personal study.
I'm sure she'll have no objection. Now, let's have a look at that list again.
I think we can rule out Mr. Sullivan as a suspect. He's Western Vespuccia's problem now. Unless Mr. McKee has escaped from prison, which I highly doubt, he's not our man. Paris Wilson. Those initials don't match the ones on the letter. I don't think this is our suspect.
Ah, Peter und Ferguson, ich sehe schon.
If dead men could cause explosions, let's just say things would be a lot different. This clearly isn't the right suspect. Lucian Donaldson. Those initials don't match the ones on the letter. I don't think this person is our suspect. Peyton Ferguson. The initials match those on the letter we got at the Lamplight Depot.
I'd say it's our best bet.
19 St. Louis Road, Gascogne. Muss ich da jetzt hingehen?
Well, well. Who's this lovely specimen?
Allow me to introduce Peyton Ferguson, known Redite and prime suspect in a sabotage at the Thorbomb Ironworks. I picked him up and brought him straight to you.
Ooh, a saboteur. Just leave him to me and I'll make him feel right at home.
Please find the Justice Killer soon, Miles. Being Giles' prisoner is not my idea of a good time.
Right. I'll leave you to it then.
Hä? Was passiert hier gerade? Ich verstehe gar nichts.
Mr. Mill?
Yes?
I found the person responsible for sabotaging your iron mill.
Oh, yeah?
His name is Peyton Ferguson. He's currently at the Bow Street Jail.
Hey, not bad. I owe you one, Detective.
He certainly does.
What can you tell me about Hannibal Kirkland?
Good worker. Mostly kept to himself. Real shame what happened to him.
Do you know if anyone here disliked Kirkland?
Enough to want him dead? Nah. There's the occasional scrap, but everyone around here gets along for the most part. Like I said, he mostly kept to himself. Head down, didn't bother nobody.
Do you know what he did outside of work?
No idea. I only ever saw him here.
You said Kirkland was a good worker?
One of my best. I knew something was up when he didn't show up for a couple of days. Don't think he'd ever missed work before.
Did he have any personal effects he kept here, or an area where he worked?
He had a cabinet downstairs in the workers' changing area, just like everyone else. You can go take a look if you want, but I don't think the police found anything.
Oh, das werde ich mir sowas mal angucken.
Is the third one from the left.
I'll be going now.
Be careful on your way out.
Third one on the left.
At least having a heater down here manages to keep things warm. I remember the changing rooms at the police station were always ice cold. Just another unmarked... Sounds like there's someone in there. If you weren't so bashful, I'd suggest joining in. We could certainly use it.
Wie zur Hölle soll ich denn?
At least have...
Wie bitte soll ich an seinen privaten Code kommen?
Yeah.
Would you happen to know the combination to Hannibal Kirkland's cabinet?
No. Every worker sets their own combination, and I don't ask for it.
What happens if they were to forget it?
Well, I have them come up with some sort of personal reminder and keep those in a file.
And do you still have Kirkland's?
I'll give it to you as soon as we're done talking.
I'll be going now.
Be careful on your way out. There you go. You're lucky I only clean out my files at the end of the year.
See? I always told you I wasn't disorganized. Just preparing for the future.
Was? Das Schiffswrack. Rot und weiß. Das Zeichen. Schiffswrack. Rot und weiß. Ah, das Schiffswrack hat die 6. Das Rot und Weiß. Ähm. Hier ist eine 0. Auf dem Rot und Weiß ist da irgendwo eine Zahl. Aha.
Empty. That's disappointing.
Not completely empty. There's something at the bottom here.
Was? The Gilded Lily. The Gilded Lily. 12 refined ladies in waiting. Oh je, oh je. Toll.
It seems our friend Hannibal had a few extracurricular activities after all.
Ja.
Gilded lily, huh? That's a bit
Ich
suspicious.
verwette
Who
mein...
knew such a pretty flower could cause such an inconvenience? The answer to that question is me, in case you were wondering. Flowers bring nothing but trouble. Trouble and snot.
That's enough, Bill. We need to get a move on.
Ruby. Wenn wir die da nicht finden, dann finden wir
Just
sie.
another... Just another...
Finden wir sie nirgends.
He seems rather upset over...
Well, hello there, handsome. Welcome to the Gilded Lily. Come over here and tell me what kind of pleasure it is you're looking for.
I'm afraid I'm here for business, not pleasure.
Oh, well, that's just a shame, isn't it?
I'm Miles Fordham, private investigator. And you are?
You can call me Serafina. I'm in charge of this establishment.
You won't mind if I take a look around or ask you some questions?
As long as you keep to the front room, you can do whatever you like. Beyond that, you're gonna have to pay.
Maybe it's best if you leave this part out when you tell Adelaide about the case later. I'm not too familiar with places like this, but I believe that's where the fun happens, if you've got the crowns for it.
Da ist eine Pflanze. Ach so, naja, okay.
Oh, my virgin eyes! What a charming statue. Wouldn't she get cold fetching water in that state of undress? Looks nervous. Wonder if this is his first time. You certainly won't find art like that at the National Gallery. I think that room is reserved for paying customers. We won't be able to get back there without a good reason.
Good reason, wie zum Beispiel ein Name.
May I ask you a few questions, Serafina?
Of course you may, but I can't guarantee the answers will be free.
Oh.
Do you know anything about the Justice Killer?
I'm afraid not, dear. I don't normally associate with killers.
Are you sure you don't know anything? He's the reason I'm here.
Well, I can assure you I know nothing about your murderer. If the trail has led you here, it's surely just coincidence.
Yeah, she seems awfully certain of that. It's a good thing we don't believe in coincidences.
Also, wenn ich meiner Spur folge und es war tatsächlich eine Frau, dann ist das sehr verdächtig. Sehr verdächtig.
Did you have a man named Hannibal Kirkland as a client?
I make it my practice not to learn the names of any customers here, Mr. Fordham. I hate to disappoint anyone who comes through those doors, but discretion is paramount in this business.
Well, at least you know you can trust these women with your secrets.
Do you by chance have a girl named Ruby in your service?
Ruby? Yes, she's one of our newest girls. She's not in any sort of trouble, is she?
Not at all. I merely wanted to speak with her.
Well, she should be in the dressing room. If you go through the rear door and follow the hallway down, it's the last door on the left.
I see. Thank you. Did you know Percival McDonough?
The politician? I knew who he was, but never met him personally.
He was seeing Ruby, wasn't he?
Not regularly, no. In fact, his first and only visit with her was yesterday.
Were you aware that he was murdered shortly after that?
I had no idea. How terrible.
Yes, it is terrible. This means she's lost a potential repeat customer.
This is a lovely establishment you have, and such a nice name, too.
Thank you, my dear. It wasn't always called the Gilded Lily, though. We were formerly known as La Maison de Tolérance.
What inspired the name change?
La Maison.
That's a bit of a long story. Not worth getting into.
How long have you been operating?
Going on 25 years. Business has been good. There's a reason this is the world's oldest profession, you know.
So, how did you get into this business?
Like many of the other girls, it was the best of some bad options. I had no interest in being beholden to a husband. I may be a fallen woman, but better to fly and fall than to have your wings clipped.
You enjoy the work?
It's a job like any other, Mr. Fordham. There are good days and there are bad days. But my girls are my family. We take care of each other. I couldn't ask for anything better.
Thank you for your time.
Of course, my dear.
Okay, und dann gehen wir mal Ruby suchen.
Oh, hello. Did Serafina send you back here for me?
Yes, but not for the usual reasons. I'm a private investigator. My name is Miles Fordham. Ruby, I presume?
Yes, that's right. What do you need from me?
Just some information.
Well, I'll do my best.
Erstmal hier in der Umkleide rum speziell alles anglotzen.
Lily, 1809 to 1843. I wonder what happened to her.
Wenn sie die... Oh.
That's a nice locket for being such a cheap piece of jewelry.
3132213.
That's a nice lock. No lilies? Seems like a missed opportunity.
Wofür?
Cut down in her prime. I can relate. I'm guessing this is where most of the girls keep their personal belongings. Doesn't seem to offer much in the way of privacy. I'm guessing the girls here don't get much in the way of a dressing area. Still, something is better than nothing, I suppose.
Die ist ein bisschen kaputt.
So, Ruby.
Yes?
Oh Gott. Sie scheint der Clou zu allem zu
Have you
sein.
heard of the Justice Killer?
No, I don't believe so.
He's a serial murderer who's killed 5 victims, mostly men from Chumley.
Oh dear, that sounds dreadful. Is that what you're investigating?
It is. Do you know anyone who might have some information about him?
I don't. Sorry I can't be more help.
Klar.
Did you ever have a client named Hannibal Kirkland?
No, that name doesn't sound familiar. Sorry.
Do you know Mr Bowditch?
Bowditch? Didn't think I'd be hearing that name again.
As I understand it, he was seeing your friend, the serving girl at the ruined coffee house.
Yeah, that's right. Annabelle. She broke things off with him a while ago, though.
So she said. Did you ever know him to be violent?
Violent? The bastard nearly beat Annabelle's brains in once. Why do you think she chucked him?
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
At least she had the good sense to get rid of him.
Perhaps we should go confirm this newly discovered fact with Annabelle.
Annabelle?
Did you ever meet a man named Burley Cause?
No, I never met him, but one of the other girls had him as a client. I remember because she was laughing about his name.
Annabelle.
He wasn't very burly, if you get my meaning.
Right.
Nein.
Are you familiar
Ich
with
will's gar nicht
Reggie
wissen.
Willingham?
Oh, him? He had to be banned from here.
Really? What happened?
He got way too rough with one of the girls. She ended up shy a few teeth.
Dear
Was?
Lord.
Yeah, apparently he wasn't too fond of boundaries. Good riddance to him, I say.
Were you aware that Mr. Willingham was murdered?
What? Oh, well, now I feel terrible for saying good riddance. I meant...
I think I know what you meant, Ruby. It's fine.
Is it me, or is there a pattern starting to emerge here?
Ja, das habe ich schon vorne. Ja.
You met recently with Percival McDonough, is that right?
How did you know that? I thought he was meant to keep those sorts of things private.
He had your name written down in his calendar.
And you found me here based on that?
Well, I am a detective.
Suppose that's true. Anyway, yes. I only met him the one time. There wasn't anything remarkable about him. After we finished, he got all emotional about his wife, but I could hardly understand what he was saying. I hate it when they cry afterwards.
That's a rather nice portrait. Who's the subject?
Oh, that's Lily. Before my time. Serafina knows loads about her. Even changed the name of this place in her honor. You might try asking her if you want to know more.
Das werde ich definitiv tun.
How long have you been in this business?
Only a few months now. Used to work at a kitchen, but then they brought in some of those new automated machines.
Sadly familiar story.
At least this profession isn't in any danger of being made obsolete by steam tech. Cold steel can never replace a warm touch.
Let's just hope that's true.
I'll just leave you to it then.
Thanks, love.
Damn shame to... That's a nice...
Ich will immer noch wissen, warum, woher diese Nummer.
Cut down. I'm guessing this is...
Aber hier in diesem Dressing Room werde ich wahrscheinlich nichts Vernünftiges mehr finden.
I think we're...
Looks nervous.
May I ask you a few questions, Serafina?
Of course you may, but I can't guarantee the answer.
Ja, ist okay.
Thank you for your time.
Nein! Ich depp.
Could you tell me about the young lady in the portrait hanging in the back room?
Ah, that's Lily Peterson. She was a wonderful woman and a great friend.
What happened to her?
It's a rather tragic story, Mr. Fordham. I'd rather not go into too much detail. The short version is this. She was with a client who got very carried away. She was able to defend herself enough to mortally wound the bastard, but the damage had already been done. The girls and I decided among us that we would rename this establishment in her honor. Some days it's still hard to believe she's gone. I haven't even been able to get rid of her box of things.
I'm very sorry for your loss, Serafina.
Thank you, dear. It was especially awful given Lily's past. Her sister died at the hands of her own husband some 16 years before. Some people just can't escape tragedy, no matter how far they run.
Huh. Something tells me these deaths are significant. It might be a good idea to learn as much as we can about Lily Peterson.
Oh yeah.
Thank you for your...
Of course.
I'm guessing...
Sie ist ihre persönlichen Sachen noch nicht losgeworden, ja?
No Lily. That's... What a charming stat. We've
Begging your pardon, miss.
How can I help you, sir?
I spoke with your friend Ruby. She told me something quite disturbing.
What was that?
She said that Ennis had fits of violence, and that the reason you ended your relationship was because he hit you.
Why would she tell you that? That was my secret to tell, not hers. I thought we were friends.
It's obvious she cares about you and was worried about your well-being.
Well, it hardly matters now Ennis is dead, does it?
But is it true? Did he raise his hand to you?
Yes, it is true. As I said before, something changed in him. I have no idea what, but I had to get away.
I see. Thank you for your honesty. I'm sorry you had to experience what you did. I'll let you get back to work.
Jede Menge geschlagene Frauen. Was? Ich gehe nicht, bevor ich nicht rausfinde, woher das kommt.
Hello again.
Probably best to... Sure. Probably... No time to wait. Therein lies up.
Chief Snelling?
Yes, Fordham?
Do you recall a murder involving a woman named Lily Peterson about a year ago?
Lily Peterson? Yes, that name does sound familiar. Of course, the prostitute murder. That wasn't one of yours, was it?
No, it wasn't. Do you remember any other details?
As I recall, the woman was beaten severely by one of her clients, who escaped and was never found. She died a few days later in the hospital. How is this of any relevance, exactly?
That's what I'm trying to piece together. Did you know that Lily Peterson had a sister who was killed some 16 years ago?
I didn't. Are you suggesting it's related somehow?
I think it is. Would you be able to get me the case file?
What was the victim's name?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
That might be a bit more difficult, unless you can give me more details.
I'll try my best.
Very well. What year did you say the case was from?
Scheiße.
It was 1826, according to the information I've gathered.
Right. And who was the detective assigned to the case?
I think it was you.
I doubt it. And what?
It was a staff.
All right. There's nothing. I suggest you get your details in order.
Chief Snelling?
Yeah.
What?
What?
It would have been...
Right.
I think it was...
And...
It was a...
All... I...
Ist das jetzt Zufall?
Chief Snelling?
Yes.
I can...
What?
It would have...
Right.
I believe...
And what was...
It was a...
All right. I...
Chief...
Yes.
I really need to take a look at that case.
I can find it for you. What year did you say the case was?
It would have...
Right.
You
realize that woman...
Perhaps...
And what was the...
It was a...
All right. I suggest...
Chief...
Yeah.
What? It was...
Right.
Perhaps...
And what...
It was a...
All right.
Chief...
Yeah.
I
can... What?
It was...
Right.
Perhaps...
And what?
It was a...
All
Hmm.
I...
Chiefs...
Yes.
I really...
I could... What?
It would have...
Right.
Perhaps...
And what?
It was a...
All right. Yes. I can... What?
It was 6...
Right.
Perhaps...
And...
It was a... Chiefs...
Yes.
It
What?
was a...
Right.
Perhaps...
And...
It was a shoe...
Verdammt. Warte mal.
We've exhausted.
So...
Yes?
Serafina told me that Lily's possessions are still here. Do you know where they're kept?
Yeah, in that cabinet over there. Lily had a special place in Serafina's heart. I don't think she has the nerve to get rid of this stuff yet.
Do you think I could take a look through it?
Oh, I don't know.
Serafina never has to know. I promise I'll only look, not touch.
If I had a crown for every time I'd heard that. But, alright. As long as you keep your word and don't take anything from the box, I'll let you have a look. I'll get it for you after.
I'll just leave you to it then.
Thanks, love. There you go. All yours for the browsing.
Let's see what we...
Lily Peterson oder die andere Peterson? While it is unorthodox practice for a detective to maintain contact with the relatives of a victim after the case has been closed, your story has touched me on a deeper level. Please let me know if there is anything I can do to help you during this hard time. I understand you have decided to take it upon yourself to raise your sister's son, and for that I will commend and respect your strength of will. Again, do not hesitate to contact me if there is anything I can do to help. Yours, Detective Lester Bonnet.
One of 3 buttons with an engraved lily on it. I wonder if they're just decorative or if they have some other purpose.
Drei, 1, 3, 2, 2, 1, 3. Oh Gott, mein Gehirn. 3, 1, 3, 2, 2, 1, 3. 3, 1, 3, 2, 2, 1, 3. Danke sehr.
Well now, I think we just found ourselves a bonanza.
Aunt Lily, I tried. God, I tried. God knows I tried, but I couldn't let that bastard get away with his crime. I refused to watch you suffer the same as mother. Justice had to be done. I snuffed out his life, just as he tried to choke yours out of your body. The blood that stains this letter is his. Oh God. As I write this, you know you're in a hospital bed, unconscious. I don't know if you'll ever be able to speak with you again. But I'm placing this letter in your secret place in the hope that you will someday be able to read it. In the meantime, I have discovered my true calling. I must dispense justice to those who harm innocent women. I've seen this cycle of violence go on for far too long. I have lost both my mother and aunt to violent men, and I must stop this from happening again. I spoke with Gloria, and she told me she had been violated by one of her clients, an iron worker named Hannibal Kirkland. I will observe his habits until the time is right to strike. After he's taken care of, I will find others and do the same until his wretched city is scrubbed clean. I need to send a message. Love to... Holy shit.
These don't look too valuable. That cheap ring must have had sentimental value because otherwise there'd be no point in keeping it. Nice scarf, impressively clean too. Lily clearly took care of her things. It's kind of sad that Lily kept that letter all these years. Guess she never really got over her sister's death.
So, Ruby,
Yes?
I found this letter inside a secret compartment in the box belonging to Lily. Do you know anything about it?
I thought we agreed you wouldn't take anything from there.
This is a special case. This letter's from Lily's nephew, the Justice Killer.
Oh, I see. Look, I've only been here a short time. I don't know anything about Lily or any killers or anything, I swear.
You know, I think she's telling the truth.
I'll just leave you to it then.
Thanks, love.
Sie weiß nichts. Aber ich bin mir zu 1.000.000% sicher, dass sie noch was weiß.
May I ask you a few questions, Serafina? Serafina, what can you tell me about Lily's nephew?
Her nephew? I didn't know she had a nephew. Lily didn't talk much about her family, as you can probably imagine.
You're not lying to me, are you?
I have nothing to hide from you.
Except maybe the truth. But I don't think we have what we need to make her talk. If there even is anything that would make her talk.
Thank you for your time.
Of course, my dear.
We've exhausted.
Es ist... Warum muss es ein Nephew sein? Es könnte ja auch eine Niece sein.
She's busy.
Jetzt kommt mal wieder die Zeit, wo ich versuchen muss, mit allen zu reden, mit denen ich schon mal geredet habe.
He seems... Probably best...
Ich muss das mit Chief Snelling irgendwie rausfinden.
Leave him to his work, Finn.
Aber ich habe leider null Plan.
Chief Snelling?
Yes.
I can...
What?
It would...
Right.
It was
Right. And what was the victim?
It was a stab.
All right.
Okay, jetzt habe ich Lester Barnett. Das ist gut.
I can... What?
It was...
Right.
It was...
Right. And...
It was...
All right.
Jetzt muss ich nur das Jahr richtig hinkriegen.
Yes. Here we are.
Perfekt.
This should be a match. Have a look.
New Britannia Police Department, Worcester, Kingsland. Case file. Date. Victim's name. Lime Collins. Daisy Collins. 3734. Cause of death. Gunshot. Self-inflicted. Strangulation. Police were notified after a neighborhood shouting and general commotion from the Collins apartment. Upon arrival, they found Daisy Collins in the living room with clear signs of strangulation. In the bedroom, they found Lime Collins, the apparent victim of a self-inflicted gunshot to the head. Searching the rest of the apartment, officers found a young child, age approximately 4 years old, hiding in a closet. The child did not respond to questions and was visibly upset. Detective Lester Barnett conducted an investigation and determined that Lime Collins attacked his wife, likely under the influence of alcohol, and accidentally caused her death. Upon realizing what he had done, he used his own pistol to take his life. The child has been taken into police custody and is awaiting transfer to an orphanage if no next of kin is located.
Fordham, I think the pieces are all falling into place. The man we're looking for is Lily Peterson's nephew, last name Collins. We know his motive and how he chooses his victims.
Yep.
All we have to do now is locate him. But I think that's best left for the morning. It's getting rather late.
Ja, meine Zeit. She's running out.
What was that?
Sounded like it came from Upton's room.
Nicht nochmal.
No!
What's he doing here? How did he find you?
You tricked me.
Mr. Collins, we meet again.
Do I know you? Of course. The rooftop.
Oh Gott, nein.
I'm sorry about what happened to your partner. It wasn't my intent for him to die.
Oh, he's sorry, is he? Is that supposed to make things better?
I suppose this encounter was inevitable.
Damn it, Miles. Of all the times not to have a gun.
Why are you murdering people?
I'm doing the world a favor.
How?
By bringing justice to those who deserve it.
You consider shooting people in the head justice?
I don't expect you to understand.
All these killings. It's because of what happened to your aunt and mother, isn't it?
So you do understand. Lily and my mother both died senseless, violent deaths. The men responsible were cowards.
Wasn't one of them your father?
Echt aufpassen, was ich sage.
But at least he realized his mistake and did the honorable thing. All these other men, they went on as if it were nothing. As though violating the trust and sanctity of their
Ich meine, ich kann ihn irgendwo verstehen, aber...
They needed to be taught the error of their ways.
Aber doch nicht, indem man sie umbringt, da kann man doch nichts lernen.
What did you do with Upton? I swear, if you've hurt her...
She's had a nasty blow, but she'll recover. Luckily, I realized my mistake before it was too late.
You mean you're not planning on killing her too?
No! Why would you even suggest that?
Ist eine Frau.
Bit of a sore spot there, it seems.
How in the ether did you find me?
That part was easy. I had my informants follow you and tell me where you'd gone. Of course, if I'd known you weren't sleeping in the bedroom, this would have been much easier.
Informants?
You've been asking questions, getting too close to finding me.
Of course, the Gilded Lily.
So I had to come here and make sure you didn't get any closer. It's nothing personal. I just can't have my work interrupted. Not yet. There remains so much to be done.
You said there was still so much to be done. How long are you planning on continuing this?
As long as it takes to scrub the city of its filth.
And then what? You'll just go back to your ordinary life?
My life will never be ordinary again. Once I'm done here, I can always go somewhere else. There's plenty of work to be done in this world.
Wonderful. A vigilante lunatic. Just what the world needs.
I can't let you continue this madness. The killing needs to end.
Surely you, of all people, can appreciate the need for justice.
Ja, natürlich,
There
aber...
are other ways of upholding justice, Collins. Ways that don't involve mass murder.
The system is broken. Criminals get away all the time. You know that.
Ja klar,
Only
aber...
too well.
I admit I came here to kill you. It was against everything I believe in, but it seemed necessary. But you comprehend my situation. You understand my reasons for doing what I do.
Understanding is not the same as approval.
But it is the first step.
Oh god.
Is this bastard really suggesting what I think he is?
All I ask is that you allow me to continue my work in peace.
You asked me to look the other way once before, and I refused.
Yes, and it cost your partner's life.
Well, this time it's just you and me, and I'm still not going to let you off. You're out of your mind if you think I'm going to just let you keep killing.
Damn right, Miles. This has to end.
Then you leave me no choice.
Nein.
Fordham, are you all right?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank God you're a better shot than I was. What about you? Did he hurt you?
Just a bump on the head, but I'll live. So this was the Justice Killer?
That's right. I'm sure Snelling will be pleased to know you put him out of commission.
I don't give a rotten fig if he does or not. I'm not going back to work for him.
No? Then what will you do?
Later, Miles. We'll figure something out. You stay here with Mr. Justice. I'll go and summon the police.
Na, grandios.
Quite a night, hey, Bill? Bill? Are you there? Bill? Oh.
Ich werde Bill vermissen. Also, ich werde seine Kommentare zu allem vermissen. Fälle lösen macht so gar keinen Spaß.
It's good of you to do this, Miles. Do you need some time alone?
If you wouldn't mind.
All right. I'll wait for you over by the sycamores.
So, it's finally over. I have to admit, it's been strange not hearing you all the time anymore. Never in a million years did I think I would actually miss it. But the important thing is you've moved on, and I got what I was looking for. I'm starting up my own private detective agency, you know. Addie and Upton are going to be my partners. It should be interesting, to say the least. Oh, that reminds me. I brought you a little something.
Blumen? Keine Blumen.
It's not much, but I thought you might appreciate it. Thank you for all your help, Bill. I truly would have been lost without it. Goodbye, old friend. I love you.
Tja, das war's. Mehr wird nicht kommen. Es ist... Francisco González hat selber mitgesprochen irgendwo. Ich weiß leider natürlich nicht wo. Das ist cool. Ja, also vielleicht kommt irgendwie mal mein Fazit dazu. Ich meine, es ist offensichtlich, dass das kaum jemand geguckt hat. Aber das Spiel verdient es absolut. Es ist fantastisch. Und ich habe ja jetzt auch nur einen Weg von vielen möglichen Wegen überhaupt freigeschaltet. Also im Prinzip müsste man es nochmal, wahrscheinlich auch nochmal durchspielen. Um auch wirklich alles. Also ich habe zum Beispiel den Boiler ja einmal ruiniert. Ich habe einmal das Ende aus Versehen falsch gewählt. Das wollte ich gar nicht. Und ich denke so, Dinge übersehen, das passiert zu oft, oh je. Also wie gesagt, vielleicht kommt irgendwann mal mein Fazit. Ansonsten lasse ich jetzt die Credits noch zu Ende laufen und dann danke fürs Zuschauen.